Okay, this is a revision for Year 9 interview exam. We're on revision pack 2, and we're going to look at expanding brackets and factorising. Here we have section 1, and what you have to do is you have to ask yourself what multiplied out, what bracket, when you multiplied it out, gave you 8x plus 20. So what you're looking for is to see, are there any common letters? And you can see there are no common letters here or here. Okay, so this has nothing to do with letters. What about 8 and 20? Well, what goes into 8 and also goes into 20? Well, 2 goes in 8 into 20, but so does 4. Okay, so you want to choose the highest one, which is 4, and say to yourself, okay, if 4 is on the outside of the bracket, what will be on the inside of the bracket? 4 times what? 4 times what gives you 8x? Well, that's going to have to be 2x. And what multiplies with 4 to give you minus 20? Well, that have to be minus 5. Now, you absolutely do not need to get stressed about this. When you've guessed your answer, multiply it back out, expand it, in other words, multiply it back out, to double check you've got it right. So 4 times 2 is 8, and so you're going to get 8x. 4 times minus 5 minus 20. So you must have factorized it correctly. Remember, factorizing is the opposite of multiplying out. Let's do this. And the final answer to this question is 4 outside the bracket, 2x minus 5. Okay? Well, let's look at the next one. Here we've got letters, we've got numbers. Let's deal with the numbers first. What number goes into 10 and also into 15? And let's put that, it's obviously 5, so let's put that 5 to one side. Now, what goes into x squared and into xy? Well, x squared, if you remember, is x times x. And the other term is xy, which is x times y. So x squared is just a clever way of writing x squared, or x times x. And x times y is just this. So you can see here that the common letter is x. So I'm going to put the x here. So now I need to ask myself, what multiplies with 5x to give me 10x squared? Well, I've got to have the 2 to create the 10. And to create x squared, I'm going to need this other x. What multiplies with 5x to give me 15? Well, I'm going to need minus 3 in terms of the number. And what multiplies with x to give you xy? Well, it must be y. Let's multiply it out to see if we've got it right. 5x times 2x, 5 times 2 is 10. X times x is x squared. 5 times 3 is 15. And x times y is xy. You see how I've got back to the beginning, which means I've done it correctly, because multiplying out is the opposite of factorizing. Okay, so my final answer is 5x outside the bracket, 2x minus 3y. Okay, now those were reasonably hard ones. If you're lucky, you'll get some really easy ones. So this one is, again, not too bad, because you haven't got to worry about letters, because it's obviously not a common letter here. Well, what goes into 3 and also goes into 12? Well, it's only 3, isn't it? So 3 must be the only thing outside the bracket. What will multiply with 3 to give you 3x? Well, that's just going to be x itself. What multiplies with 12 to give you 4? Sorry, what multiplies with 3 to give you 12 is 4. And let's multiply out to check. 3x plus 12. Okay, we've got back to the beginning, so we must have factorized it correctly. My final answer here then is 3 bracket x plus 4. Okay, we've got a slightly more difficult one here, very similar to the one we had before, but you have to remember that 2x squared is 2 times x times x. 2x squared. And here we've got minus 4 times x times y. And you can see that in terms of the number, what goes into 2 and also into 4 is 2. And what's common in the letters is there's an x in this x times x and x times y, that x is common. And I'm going to do, now I'm going to ask myself, what do I multiply to give me 2x squared? Well, I want x squared, so I need another x. And to get minus 4, this is going to have to be minus 2. And you can see what's missing here is a y, so I need a y here. Let's multiply out and check. 2x times x is 2x squared. And 2 times minus 2y is minus 4y. Okay, and that's that one finished. So my final answer, this is a check, remember, to make sure I get back to the beginning. So let's go, so the final answer here is 2x, x minus 2y. Okay, now let's do, finish this page off. Here we've got to, first of all, I have to expand. That means multiply out. So 3 times 2a is 6a, 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times a is 5a, and 5 times minus 2 is minus 10. I'm going to put a ring around the a terms, and here you can see that I'm going to get 11a. Plus 5 and minus 10, if you put in your calculator, you'll end up with plus 5. So my final answer is 11a plus 5. And moving on to the last bit of the page, we've got, this just means multiply out. So we're going to get 3 times 2y is 6y, and 3 times minus 5 is minus 15. So 6y minus 15. Okay, now we've got another one of these factorized things, which is the opposite of multiplying out. So I'm expecting something with bracket here, which I can multiply out to check that I've got it correct. What goes into 8 and also goes into 4? Well, that's 4. And you might remember this means x times x. This is x times y, and you can see that the x is common. So I'm going to take the x out. What multiplies with 4x to give you 8x squared? Well, to get 8, you're going to need a 2. To get x squared, you're going to need another x. To multiply 4 with 4, well, that would be 1, and I don't need to write that. So here I'm just going to get y. Okay, so don't trust your answer. Multiply out and double check. Multiplying out checks your answer. 4x times 2x. Well, 4 times 2 is 8. And x times x is x squared. 4 times y would be 4y, but with the x gives you plus 4xy. Final answer, 4x to x plus y.